What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 1 of Accountability Connections, brand new podcast brought to you by two lifelong friends, man. Chandler Hutchison, that's me. I got my fantastic co-host Brett Goodhue on the other side. I don't know if he's to the left of me, right of me, if you're watching on video, but listen, guys, we are here to talk about this brand new podcast. Brett, talk about why we're starting this thing up, man. Talk about why we're starting up Accountability Connection.
Well, for me personally, I want this to be a format for people to find new mentors, find new ways of getting an outlet, and things like that. I know that when I was just getting out of college, I was looking for an outlet, trying to find some motivation or some discipline in my life. I want some direction. And I found that in a book. The book turned into an audiobook. The audiobook turned into podcasts. And now I'm obsessed with podcasts. So, I mean, best way to do it is just to start your own, I guess, right?
Absolutely, man. And the reason Brett and I are hooking up on this, man, is we both are active on our social medias. We're both into fitness. We're both into all this mindset training and discipline and self help, if that's what you want to call it. And realize, like, for me, Brett, I have no accountability system that I hold myself to. I run every day. I work out a couple times a week outside of the running, but I have nobody to hold me accountable, man. I have nobody that I'm reporting to or nothing that I'm reporting to that is holding me accountable. So I'm posting on social media that I'm running every day. I'm not always posting my times. I'm not always posting what I'm doing. I'm not going back to my spreadsheet and logging it. I texted you before this. I logged 4 months of runs that I hadn't logged since July, man. Like, that is pathetic. And I need something to keep me in line. I need something to keep me accountable. And I'm hoping this is just personal accountability in a raw oral form, man. And I think that anyone that's listening to this or that's interacting with us on socials, man, I think that they can hold themselves accountable in some different ways interacting with us in this podcast. So I'm excited about it, man. We're going to be talking a lot about self-discovery, fitness, like just working towards all these different goals and these different tools that we use to move towards them. And one thing I can't wait to talk about is just all the mentors and people that inspire us in this space. It may sound funny to call some Navy SEAL or some ultra runner a mentor, but when you can dive into their life through their books, through their podcasts, whatever it is, man, they become part of your life. And we're excited to share what we've learned. That's what this is all about, right?
Big facts, dude. And it's such an interesting thing. I remember I was reading a book that actually we're going to talk about a little bit in this episode too. But in the book, they referenced a quote from Otto von Bismarck. And he said, "Any fool can learn from his own mistakes, but it takes a wise man to learn from the mistakes of others." And I want to talk about all the things I fucked up, all the things that we've just kind of, like you already said, like you didn't log for 4 weeks. I ate a donut
four
this morning.
months,
Like,
bro.
yeah, 4 months. My mistake. And that's the thing. Like, we talk about our screw ups, we talk about our successes, and one of the coolest things about this is if we do this for a long period of time, we're 23 years old. You're going to see us grow and grow with us. Like, it's going to be one of them. It could be something that's an extreme journey for anybody that wants to come along with. And I think that could be a really cool part of it as well.
With you, and hopefully we get some people to participate in that. Hopefully we're not just speaking out into the ether to nothing, man. But yeah, we want to learn from this. We want to grow from it, and it's uncomfortable for both of us, Brett. That's why we're here, man. Like, I'm comfortable talking. I'm comfortable with a microphone, camera, whatever. But I'm not comfortable talking about all those screw ups, man, and talking about how I decided to eat half a bag of goldfish at midnight rather than, sticking to a good clean diet and not eating after dinner or whatever it is. But those are the things we got to dive into, man. Those are the things that we got to figure out. So I'm excited, dude. I'm excited. You want to just let the people know a couple of those mentors, authors, people that
Oh,
inspire
geez.
you, and just a few off the top of your head that kind of shape who you're turning into over these past couple of years?
I was going to say, do we have about like an hour? Because I can name quite a few. But the biggest ones are obviously, because I repost all this stuff. I'm a big quote dude. I mean, I run a quote page, which is kind of weird, but I mean, whatever. I can rattle them off the top of my head. But big one is Jocko Willink, obviously Navy SEAL. He was a battalion commander of some sorts, and Ramadi. I could tell It's just I'm obsessed, unfortunately. Goggins, could talk about Hal Elrod.
Mm.
There's a ton of people. Eric Greitens, like I just mentioned, there's a million, and actually, there's a kind of a common theme. They're all in the military, so I mean, I think I get kind of the same deal from all of them, but they all have great different insights that I always appreciate, whether I'm listening to a podcast about them or reading the book, reading the Instagram post, whatever it is.
I love that, man. Yeah, Goggins would be right at the top of my list too. For every time I'm working out and I don't do enough, and I just can hear Goggins whispering in my ear, man, just like get up and get moving, you little bitch, because
I
that's
was gonna
how
say,
that's that mindset, man. And he's right up there for anyone in fitness, man. You know that I had this guy Justin True on one of my other podcasts. This
yup,
guy's
guy's
unbelievable,
a
ultra
beast.
triathlete, someone that I look up to and respect a lot and message back and forth with to just, put one foot in front of the other, keep inspiring and doing things for causes bigger than himself. There's a million people we could talk about, but we'll get into that as the weeks go. Talking about all these people that we read and follow and like to keep up with. But Brett, we're going to be talking a lot about our own fitness goals and our fitness challenges. You're in the gym every single day. I'm out running every single day, and we have some different fitness interests, but some that go along together. And one thing that we both did on September 11th, we both did the Hyannis Triathlon for the first time, sprint triathlon. We were
Yep.
newbies, signed up like a month before to do this thing, man. And it was a quarter-mile swim followed by a 10.2-mile bike ride and a 3.6-mile run, which doesn't sound all that crazy, but man, it taught us a little bit about ourselves, Brett. It was a humbling experience in more
Oh
ways than
yeah.
one, but let's talk about it, man. I mean, how do we feel about training, leading up to this? What were we doing? How were you feeling about your training leading up to this event?
I wish that I could have connected the dots before going into this, but
Yeah.
you obviously can't. But it, I mean, I was just stupid. I really thought that this would be so. I thought this would be so easy. I could run 6, 8, whatever miles. I was swimming every day. I was biking every day, but I never rode on my actual bike that I was going to use, which is kind of a bonehead ass move. But whatever. But yeah, no, my training. I literally lifted weights every single day, and then decided, all right, yeah. On top of that, I'm just gonna do the whatever, do the event afterwards. It's like, no, like you need to prioritize. If you want to do good, you have to
Mm.
prioritize it. So no, my training sucked. I thought this would be easy, and that, yeah, I made a big mistake.
Hey, I hear you, man, because I did not prioritize my training the right way at all. I could ride a bike forever. I could run forever. I've done 2 half marathons at this point, so I wasn't worried about those, 3.6 miles. But, Brett, I swam one time before this event. I swam one time.
Hey, give
It's
yourself some
struggle
credit though. You
bus.
tried like 4 times, but they just wouldn't let you in. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's on them. That's their fault, right? No, just kidding.
Yeah, we're not getting a sponsorship from the Stoughton YMCA on this podcast, but they did not let me in that pool. I will tell you that. But man, that swim absolutely humbled me. I was more dead at the end of that 10-minute swim. And it's embarrassing. I got the times up here, man. It took me 11 minutes 48 seconds to do this quarter-mile swim, and it took you 12 minutes 18 seconds to do this quarter-mile swim.
Yo,
That, oh my dude, people do this in like 3-4 minutes. Like, just absolutely embarrassed ourselves during this. We
dude, I
had
thought I
no
was gonna
idea.
fucking drown. Oh my god. I saw people stopping. I panicked. I'm afraid of sharks. I don't like fish under my feet. I was not in my element. That was brutal. Uh-oh.
Kayaks just inviting you up to take a breath. But Brett, then we get into the transition area, man. You understand the transition area. People were in and not know what we were getting into. We didn't know how to do the transition area. We didn't train the right way and prioritize it the right way, but we still went out and did it, man. We
Yeah,
still
we
went
give it
out
our
and got it
best.
done and completed it. But there's 350 that completed this, and we did not place well here, Brett. We
I
gotta
don't
be
even want. I
honest,
don't
man.
even want to hear it. I
We
know
gotta
exactly where I was.
we gotta be honest, man. Out of 354 people in this event, I came in 305. Brett came in 342.
Yep.
We are in the bottom of the barrel finishing this thing, Brett. And it was our first time. We weren't as prepared. Maybe didn't sleep enough. Maybe didn't hydrate the right way. I mean, all those things factor into it. But we got it done, man. So, what would you do differently leading up to this next time? Because this is going to be a recurring theme of this. We're going to be talking about our
Yeah.
goals. We're going to be talking about the things we're doing. But most importantly, how do we better ourselves and better our performance afterwards? So, what are we going to do differently heading into that next time?
All right. So big one for me is salt tablets because I don't think I've ever had worse cramps in my entire
Yeah,
life than on that run. That
boy was
that run
hurting.
is not me. That's not my time at all. But I was so pissed, dude. And I asked so many people for salt tablets. I was begging on the street. So yeah, salt tablets, water, um, an actual bike. My bike at one point decided it wasn't going to go out of seventh gear, and it just got stuck. So going up hills was like the worst thing ever. And
And remember, you hadn't done an outdoor bike ride
yeah, like
beforehand. It was all in the gym, and you didn't get that bike tuned up. It's your dad's old bike. That bike had no business being in that race.
no, no, that was again big mistake. Yeah, I couldn't even get the thing to go up high enough for me. I got really long legs, and I was like, my knees were kicking me in the chest. It was awful. I completely screwed myself. That was my fault. Like I just wasn't ready. But yeah, I'd proper equipment. I'd swim more. Actually, one of the biggest things too. I hate that I'd go into this so early, but it's like my shoulder mobility going into that was awful, horrible. And you need such good shoulder mobility when you're swimming. I noticed
Yeah.
it while I was swimming, and I was like, well, I'd still rather just go bench press before I go for a swim, which is so stupid. But regardless, yeah, I'd have a lot of things I do very, 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 very different.
No, I absolutely agree, man. And I mean, I was out there eating a calzone the night before.
And
I got up early and got the caffeine and the carbs in right away, but
yep,
I definitely could have trained much differently. I needed to swim a bunch. I'm going to be swimming a lot more going into this triathlon next year because we're going
yep.
back.
Oh yeah,
We're going
100%.
back and we're in the same
I
thing.
told you, give me 5 years. I'm gonna win that thing. I'm telling you right now. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. It's happening. I'm speaking it into existence now. You want to talk about personal accountability? First episode. I'm speaking this one into existence. 5 years later.
All right, we'll see how many spots we can go up in this one, man. But all the training would be totally different, and it's got to be different for next year. But Brad, I mean, biggest thing for me coming out of this triathlon is I was so humbled, man. Like I was so humbled as a 23-year-old fit person to be
Yep.
on that bike and seeing a 69-year-old woman fly by me and seeing 54 and seeing dudes with bellies way farther out than they should be cruising by me on a bike. And yes, I made up some time on the run, but I was so humbled by just people, every single walk of life, every single age, gender, whatever, out there getting after it. And it's a sport that we don't know enough about. I like to follow these triathletes and these ultra runners and all these people that do crazy things. We went into someone else's sport right here, Brett. We went out into 350 people's sport that wasn't ours and thought we were going to do a lot better than we did. So I was really humbled as someone that runs and bikes a lot to go out there and just have so many people whoop me, man. There was one woman over 70 and two men over 70 that smoked
Crazy.
both of us, man.
Yep.
Absolutely smoked us. And that was the biggest thing for me. It was really humbling. And I did feel good that I was standing at the end of it. I'm standing there and a guy comes is thrown up at my feet after he
Yep.
finishes. So I felt good that I was standing there after, but I need to push myself a little harder. I could have done better. And the training is the biggest thing. And I'm hoping that this podcast and these weekly check-ins that we're going to be doing can keep that training, in the right spot, especially with winter coming up. Need to
Yep.
get in the pool during the winter. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping this podcast is, going to help me stay true to that. So, what was your biggest takeaway from this experience here?
Oh my god. Like you said, you were at least standing at the end. I was not. I crawled across that finish line. That was
Yeah.
the worst part. But no, you kind of hit it on the head. Like it's just a humbling experience. I've like every sport that I've ever walked into, I've been good at, or at least I shouldn't say good, but like I've been very capable of playing the sport. Like if I
Above
wanted to,
average.
yeah, exactly. And I could walk in just because I'm in shape or whatever, and I could do whatever I have to do. But in this, I've never had that happen to me ever. That was the craziest thing to me, is that like, oh, like you can't just walk in and just do whatever. Like that's just not going to happen. So I mean, yeah, it was a very humbling experience, and I can't wait to do it again.
You thought you were like Shaq on Shaq versus and was just gonna walk in and out quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, man.
Yeah, seriously, it was
you were
stupid.
stepping into a whole nother realm. And Brett, I know one thing you wanted to talk about here, man, was just that, you know, self-belief is so important and confidence in yourself is so important, especially when you're going into an event like this. But I mean, was that kind of your downfall walking into this thing? Were you too confident walking in, not really knowing about the course, about what it was going to take, the transition areas, the training? Did you get a little ahead of yourself?
So it's funny. So when I wrote down the notes for the show or whatever, I thought about it like that, and I was like, because my initial thing is like self-belief is so important. It can take you to new levels. It can take you here, there, whatever, wherever you want to go, because
Mm,
it's the first step to achieving what you're after. But it can also be your biggest downfall. Cocky people, really arrogant people, stupid
mm,
people like myself walk into things and they're like, oh, like I can minimally prepare for this and still be good at it, which is just not true. And it's just not something that, um, it's not something that's possible. And, I'll get kind of raw at this point too. I've, so went, so we went to college or whatever, and we did that, and we put in the work, did whatever. So I thought coming out of college, I'm going to walk in to the job that I want, and I'm going to get it right off the bat. And I thought that I was going to be on a fast track to being here at the peak of whatever I was trying to do in a year or two. That was my thought process, because I went to college and I put in whatever work. And it just, you have to believe in it, but you have to be realistic as well. You can't sit there and say like, oh, I'm going to step into this completely new world as a 23-year-old kid and you're going to get whatever you want. That's not going to happen. And yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. It's like the pros and cons of self-belief. Can it be too much? What's enough? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, without a doubt, man. So what about starting that process? Like, how does how does how does the start of self-belief, I mean, where does that come from? You have it on here, man. You're saying it's an uphill battle from the start. So how do you get that moving right from the beginning?
So one of the things is that, like, so you pick your spot. So like, say you want to run a triathlon like this. So you have to believe at first that you can actually figure out how to do this, but you have to approach it with the mindset of, you have to approach it with a humble mindset. So you can't sit there and be like, oh, this will be nothing. Like, that's not going to happen. You have to go into it and say like, I can do this, but I have to take the steps to get to that spot. So I need to train better. I need to hydrate. I need my nutrition to be in order. I need my habits and everything else to be in order. You need to believe in it, but you also need to believe in the process.
So, I mean, what happens when you start getting in those mind games with yourself, though, when you say, why am I doing this? Like, how do I stay consistent? How do you not hit that snooze button like Jocko likes to talk about, that dream killer, man? How do you get up early and get after it and start that consistency every single day? How does that process work for you?
For me personally, so I started getting up wicked early in the morning, just because it's kind of a funny story too. It started because my girlfriend at the time, now fiance, was saying like, Brett, you sleep until noon every day. Like, what's the matter with you? Like, why are you doing this to yourself? And I'm like, I just sleep. I don't know. I like to sleep. I don't have a schedule. I don't have to get up. I mean, it was in the middle of quarantine and I didn't have to get up for class until like 10 o'clock. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just sleep. And then one day she was just like, you could never get up with me. She's getting up going to work. And I was like,
Yeah, I
what? Yeah, yeah, really? Like, yeah, I can't do that. Okay. So I did it one day. I went downstairs, took my pre-workout, turned on my heavy metal in the basement, and just started repping out bench and whatever, and did all these different things. And I liked it. I was like, this is new. I felt like I had like an advantage on people.
Mm.
And it started with like that good feeling. So you just feel like you achieved something. And it's that positive reinforcement that it reinforces your self-belief in that you can do these things. So somebody told me I couldn't, so I had to prove that I could, and then I showed everybody that I could. So then I started thinking, well, this worked, and I can do this. I can keep doing this. I haven't missed a day in how long? What's today? October? Year and a half?
Yeah.
5 days a week. So I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
eventually it just becomes a habit.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, on the other side of that is, I've only missed 10 days of running this year. I ran over 600 miles last year. And when I decided to start running every day, I just decided it's a non-negotiable. I
Yep.
have to go. I have to do it. I don't have a decision. I've decided that this is just the new way of life. Like, this is the way it's going to be. And I think that you have to make that decision. You have to make that commitment. And we're going to talk about some goals later, but I'm getting ready to reaffirm that in other areas of my life, because once you can make it happen in one area, it can start spreading to other areas of your life, and you can start becoming more successful in those areas. It's not just about being successful in fitness here on this podcast. That's not where we're going to be talking about. Whether it's job related, whether it's fitness related, whether it's your mental health, whatever it is, like we're going to be trying to become well-rounded individuals, setting goals every single week on this, man. And I'm hoping that I can create some non-negotiables in other areas. That's what I'm looking for here, man, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like for me too, like I always word things very carefully when I'm thinking of like the
Mm,
things I want to do. So I started doing something where I have to do 100 push-ups every day. I have to do 100 push-ups, 60 sit-ups, 24 pull-ups, whatever, the whole nine. And when I think about that, I'm not sitting there, I'm like, oh, like I have to go do this right now. Like this is a non-negotiable at this point. No, I owe it to myself to do that stuff because I know that doing that is going to help me improve. So if you sit there and you're like, all right, I have to go run, then you're not going to want to do it. But if you say, all right, like I owe myself this mile. I care about myself so much that I want to treat my cardiovascular health with the care that it needs so that I can be better in the future. And it's just kind of it can be wording even that's going
yeah.
to contribute to that self-belief, which I love. It's such a simple little thing. I forget who said it. It might have been Hal Elrod. It's just like getting that positivity into that where you're saying like, this is for me, saying for nobody else. I'm not doing it because I have to. I'm not doing it for this or that or whatever. I'm doing it for me. And I feel like that's a big key to it.
I couldn't agree with you more there, man. And that's where I'm hoping to get with, some different things. And I agree, wording couldn't be more important. I mean, I've had more than a few people be upset with me for how positive I am, which that doesn't quite make sense in
I
my
think I'm
head.
one
But
of them.
yeah, no, I mean, you probably are, man. But that's the energy that I want to put out, man. I mean, I genuinely believe you're going to get back what you put out into the world, and that you have a decision every single day. Are you going to be happy? You're going to be sad? You're going to get after it or not? You make those decisions. There's a million
Exactly.
different variables that can affect it, but at the end of the day, you make that decision, man. I'm re-listening to "Can't Hurt Me" by Goggins for the third time,
Yep.
and I got to tell you, man, he's like, we all have the same 24 hours in the day. The difference is I get up earlier than you. I go to bed later. I still prioritize my sleep. I still prioritize my health and all this other stuff. But, well, your commute time's an hour. I'm riding my bike for that hour. Well, you're sitting there scrolling for 20 minutes on the toilet. I'm doing 20 minutes of push-ups or 20 minutes of studying or whatever it is. We all have the same 24 hours in the day, man. It's all about what you choose to do with it. That's where I'm leaning there. But I mean, Brett, when you develop this self belief, man, I mean, how do you capitalize on it? How do you keep it going, and how do you keep those good habits good, and how do you keep those moving and grooving, man?
One of the biggest things that pisses me off is that when somebody's talking about being prepared, you have to be super prepared. And like you can prepare forever and you'll never do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest thing. There is such thing as being too prepared because the best time to act is right now. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like with this is so out of my comfort zone. I'm not that prepared. I'm not ready at all personally because I hate putting myself into these situations where I have to talk a lot. But at the same time, it's like I'm never going to be ready. I could sit there and talk to myself in the car for 6 hours every day and I'd still never be ready. So at some point you need to just say, all right, forget the preparation, forget being perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And you just have to act. So you have to turn that self-belief into a conviction that it's going to happen, and then you have to fucking do it. And that's it.
I love that clip of Rogan while I'm sitting there wasting a half an hour scrolling on Instagram Reels of him saying, "Oh, you know, I hate when I hear people say, 'Oh, I wish I started when I was younger.'"
Oops.
No one cares. Start
Yeah.
now. No one could care less. No one is keeping you accountable other than yourself, man. And I mean, that's the thing. You just got to start and you got to get after it now. And you had it on here, man, trying to set different goals for different situations. And
Yep.
you have short term, medium term, and long term goals on here. And you have to envision what each of those are going to look like. And it could be for anything. I look at that triathlon. My soft goal for that was 2 hours. My medium goal for that was an hour 50. My hard goal was an hour 45. Set three different goals, three different expectations of yourself, but the goal is still to go get it done. And I mean, what can you give an example of what you do setting those short, medium, and long-term goals and kind of how those come to be and materialize?
I write them down. Like I physically take a pen and paper, I put it in a journal, and it sits there. And every day I look at it. And every day it's not done, I get a little more pissed off at myself for not getting after it. And it's true. So like so I want to be a state trooper, and I'm trying to get to that world. I went in there and I did. We had to do a PT test, so I did a mile and a half, and I said I believe that I had a goal for myself. So the day before I ran, and I said, all right, I need this to be under 11:30 because the requirement was like 12:34. So I figured give myself an extra minute, put it beyond a reasonable doubt. I got this. So I said, this is my goal. This is what I'm going to do. And I wrote it down. So I said, do it in 11:30. Hard goal. There was no negotiations to it. I was going to die before I let that one go.
Mm.
And I did it. I crossed it out. And it's just kind of like that. And then becoming a state trooper is on my goal list. That's at the top of it. And the minute that I can cross that out, I might explode, but you know, whatever. But it's just, yeah, write it down, physically cross them out. I read somewhere where I wish I could remember where I get all this information from, but I read somewhere that writing your goals down and being able to physically cross them out gives you a release, like of some kind of chemical in your head that gives you a really good feeling. And it's 100% true. I feel so good when I can just cross that out real quick. And you do that, it's positive reinforcement. It makes you want to set more goals, achieve more things, be better. And it's a great habit to get into. That's why I do personally. What do you end up doing? Do you write yours down? Or what is your process for that?
I do the same thing, man. I do write them down, but I'm trying to get into a new process, man. I'm trying to use this podcast as an accountability system for myself.
I like
And
it.
I keep saying it to you, Brett, man. I don't have any accountability system. Like my brother has a group that he meets with weekly where they discuss their goals. They try to help each other reach all the stuff. I don't have that, man. I have all these goals for myself inside, but I'm going to start writing them down weekly. I'm going to start, cutting out that specific time to write down those goals, reflect on them, focus on them, brainstorm on how to get past them. But that's going to be a new weekly process for me, man. But what you had on here is really what I do to reach those goals. Put in the work, man. Like just getting out and getting after it. When I have the goal of, 2, 3 job applications in a week, do 5. When I have the goal of run a 5K a day, run 3.5 a day rather than 3.1 a day. So I am with you that you got to set short, medium, and long-term goals, but also like I had said before, I like setting like different stages of goals. Like here's the minimum of what I got to do. Here's the medium of what I got to do. And if I'm feeling really good and my body's in the right place, mind's in the right place, I got the time. Here's like that legit intense high goal that I'm going for. So I think you can do a lot with it, but write it down and figure out some different goals. Don't make it so binary that it's I achieved this or I failed it. Give yourself
Yeah.
some wiggle room. Let yourself succeed. Give yourself some small successes along the way because I'm a big believer that those little things add up. I'm a really big believer that you get 1% better in many different areas, it just multiplies. It's the compound effect, man. It
Yeah,
really
dude.
is. It's real
Small
important.
spark is built. Small sparks build up to a really big fire.
It's true,
100%
man.
true.
And we're a couple pyros, so we can attest to that, man. That's for
Yep.
sure. Now, Brett, man, that was a good discussion. So why don't we get towards wrapping this thing up? So, to kind of close this out, we're going to be touching on goals that we have every single week. And, for me, I'm going to be going with just some very, very simple goals to start. I'm hoping to do some just easy week-long, month-long goals to start that we can keep checking up upon, as the show goes. So I don't know if you want me to start, or I don't know if you want to talk about some goals you either got for the next week, the next month, or however you situated or thought about this little part of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I could do that. So, one of mine's kind of funny. Mine's I need to take it easier in the gym because right now my quads are destroyed. I
Mm.
did like 100 squats or something, and I hurt myself pretty much. And then I played basketball afterwards. So, obviously, that's my problem. My vice is that I go too hard with certain things, and I need to know when to scale back. So, I'm trying to scale my lifting back and get my cardiovascular shape back. So, this week I want to do my mobility training tomorrow, and then on top of that I want to start working on my 1.5 mile time because I didn't even mention what the standard they told us for at the PT test either. You wouldn't believe this either. This was absurd. They told me, so I ran the 1.5 mile at a 10:48, which is pretty good. That's like the fastest I've ever ran a mile. It was 7:13 pace or something, which is pretty crazy. I was, whoa, that's sick. I never got to do
Yeah.
that. I was so excited. And I asked the trainer, I was like, so what is the standard for you guys? Like, what do they all do? I think I was hot shit because I came in like top 10 or something. He was like, everybody here is in the 90th percentile. What is that? I don't know what that means. Like, what do you mean? He's like, everybody here runs it in 6 minutes, 9 minutes or less. Excuse me. So my long-term goal is to get that to 9 minutes, but I need to start working on my actual speed instead of just
Mm.
my steady state cardio. So that's my goal for the week. Start the speed training on the track or on the treadmill and kind of scale back my weightlifting that I'm kind of obsessed with.
All right. And my challenge that I'll put towards you there is find some alternative ways to get some of that speed work in.
Hmm.
Like do some elevation, do
Yep.
do some ladder workouts, with foot speed, or jump rope. Like do something you don't normally do when you're trying to work on cardio and speed, and work that into whatever routine you're doing. Like do something different. Do something you haven't
Do
done
something
before.
crazy. I like it.
Yeah, man. Make it uncomfortable, man, right? That's where the growth comes. So do something there, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can stick with that. I hate cardio, dude. Like if I could, I would be so content with just to beef up to about 250 pounds, just go deadlift whatever I want. But I can't do that. I need to get in actual shape. So yeah, I'll give that a shot. See how it goes.
All right, well, we're gonna have to talk about this next week and see whether you took that challenge and whether you
Mm,
fulfilled that goal to work on your cardio this week, man. Because a week out, we're gonna be checking in on that, see if you fulfilled that.
I'll be here for it. We'll see how it goes.
All right, man. I got like a bunch of little simple goals for me for this week, and I got 5 things on here, Brett, and they're all real easy. So I need to get all these done within the next week. It shouldn't be much, but one thing I'm gonna do, I got another podcast right off the bus. I need to do social posts all 7 days for right off the bus. I didn't miss a day for months. Then I started doing a little spotty, trying out some different post techniques. So geez, sound like I'm playing basketball, post techniques. But I got to post all 7 days. I got to get back after it with right off the bus and stay consistent with that. Number 2, I'm going to get this podcast, Accountability Connection, full online situation done. Like we got the small bits to start, on Instagram and the podcast going out to different platforms. I need it all done within the next 7 days. It needs to be
Oh, you
100% done.
got to arrive on the scene.
I got to run all 7 days, which I'm gonna do, but I
Yep.
got to log it too. Logging is the big thing for me there. That's a habit I need to get in. I got to weigh myself all 7 days, Brett, because I'm rocking a couple extra pounds right now.
Stop.
I I am, trust me, and it's goldfish weight, man. It's beer weight. It doesn't need to be there, And I think weighing myself and getting back in that habit, I can shame myself a little bit into some good healthy eating habits, you
Oh
know?
my goodness. No, don't do it like that. Come on now.
Nah, I'm
Do
playing.
it for
I'm playing.
yourself. Don't do it in
Oh
spite of
no.
yourself.
Nah, no, I'm just playing. But in all seriousness, like doing that every day, it gives me a clear, like visual picture of where I'm at with my body health. So I need to do that. And then I just need to get back to my simple body weight exercise, man. Every single day. Get up, 10 push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, squats, 20 jumping jacks, 30-second plank. I need to get back to just doing that 7 days a week. So those are my 5 things, man. I'm gonna just do these really simple little things. And that's how I'm starting off. Not doing anything crazy, man.
I
All
like it.
real simple.
Now, since you decided to challenge me,
Go ahead.
you know exactly what I'm gonna say.
Let's go.
Come get a session with your boy.
Dude, they don't let me back at the wire. Remember they told me I can't come back?
Oh, you can come back. You can come back. We're just gonna do a lot of pull-ups and some stick work. You know, you're gonna get the shoulders moving.
I'll get a session in with you this week. Done. Done. That's the challenge. What
More
am I
the
going to do?
merrier.
Say no?
I mean,
Say
a
no.
lot of people tell me no. So
This is an accountability podcast, man. This is we gotta take these situations. We gotta run with them and do them the right way, man. So I'm in. I'm
I
in.
like it. I like it. I'm excited now. Yeah, all the boys coming. I gotta text everybody now. We're all going.
All right, man. So before we wrap this thing up, man, we just gotta plug the socials real quick, Brett. You want to talk about your page real quick at all before we
Yeah.
run this thing down?
Toss the early morning mindset page. I don't like to call it 5 a.m. mindset. I mean that's what it's called. It's 5 a.m. mindset official. But like it's hard for me to say that because then I'll get a message from somebody and they'll be like, well, I can't get up at 5 a.m. So like, do I still have the mindset? Like, yes, as long as you're getting up early, just go do some push-ups or something. Like, yes, you still have it. It's fine. But yeah,
As
no,
long as
5
you're
a.m.
getting
mindset
after it,
official.
man.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you get after it, you own your morning, own your routine, up and after it. That's all matters. But yeah, official 5 a.m. mindset official. That's the one.
And you don't want that personal one out there. I see you there. But
No, that's just for me.
yeah, man, go check out my other sports pod right off the bus. You can find that on any socials, man. Find me, Chair Hutch 10. Come talk sports with me. Come talk running. I'm gonna get back to the running post every day, Brett. I'm back getting after it. I'm
excited.
I'm gonna be good. So I'm gonna be there. But big thing is go follow us on whatever social you can at Accountability Connection. Give us any comments, whether it's YouTube, whether it's on the IG, whether it's social. Subscribe wherever you can, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Just give us any love you can on those socials. We appreciate anything you can do there. And Brett, if you want to wrap it out, just tell them to get after it after they listen to this episode. Make sure they're doing something productive here.
Own the morning routine. It's the most important part of the day. Even if you're not a morning person. And if you're not a morning person, that's even more of a reason to go get it because you're pissed off and you want to go kill the day. So go attack it. That's it.
Own the day, man. That's episode 1. Accountability Connection. We'll see you next week.